continue on and do some more tomorrow. So we're going to start and we're going to solve by completing the square, and this is going to feel very much like what we did together yesterday. Okay? Let's start with the fact that we're just going to factor as it is because they are going to set these up for you nicely. That doesn't always happen in life, but that's going to happen here. So yesterday we would have first subtracted over the 36 or subtracted over the 8. Agree? Today we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it as is. And we're going to factor what's on the left because these are already set up as what we call perfect square trinomials. Here we go. 2 sets of parentheses set equal to 36. So we're going to factor, and these are all going to factor like number 23. So take a look at number 23 on the board. Remember we talked about if the first thing is a perfect square and the last thing is a perfect square, start first by taking the square root of each to see if that does something for you. What is the square root of x squared? I'm going to put that here and here. What's the square root of 4? 2. I'm going to put that here and here. Notice I need to subtract to a middle term of -4, and then I need my ending term to be a +4. So if I do a -2 and a -2, those multiply to +4. -2 2 more is going to give me -4. So do you see how that kind of worked for me? Can I rewrite this as x minus 2 squared?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing. So, oh wait, let's finish this one first. I got scatterbrained for a second. Let's finish this one first. Okay, so it's being squared. How would you undo a square if you're solving? Square root it. So I'm going to square root each side to solve. When you square root each side to solve, what symbol comes up out front? Do you remember? That plus or minus symbol comes up out front. What is the square root of 36? 6. Okay. If I take the square root of x minus 2 squared, what's going to happen? It's just going to be x minus 2 because the square and the square root undo each other. Do you see how I'm now here? If I want to solve for x, how can I finish getting x alone?
Add 2.
Add the 2. So x equals 2 plus or minus 6. So let's actually figure out what those solutions are. If I do 2 plus 6, what am I going to get? 8. If I go the other route and I do the 2 minus 6, what am I going to get? And those are my 2 solutions. Now, do you see how in order to do the problem this way, it had to be set up very specifically? Do you see how this side had to be where we could do this perfect square situation? Okay, all of them are going to be set up that way today. So you don't have to think, well, but what if it's not like that? They're all going to be set up that way. They purposefully gave you all problems today where the thing on the left is going to be set up where you can factor it into 2 sets of parentheses squared. So you're going to do this basically every single time. And they're always going to give you stuff that's going to factor nicely. So that's going to happen all day today. They have to set it up like that so you can solve the problem like that. So this is the method that we're kind of showing you today. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about, but what if it wasn't set up perfectly? Okay, today they are, tomorrow they won't be. All right, so we take the square root, x times x is x squared, yeah? What multiplies to 144, but will add to 24? 12. It's the same number twice. Again, we're thinking about our square roots. Do you see how I need both of them to be minus? Because a negative 12 and a negative 12 will give me negative 24. Negative 12 times negative 12 will give me that positive 144. Are we okay so far? Okay. If I have the same set of parentheses twice, how can I rewrite it? Yeah, x minus 12, that set of parentheses squared equals 8. Okay, now I want to undo the square. How do I undo a square? Square root. And I'm going to square root each side. So x minus 12 equals plus minus the square root of 8. Now, I'm not going to write the 8 yet. Is 8 a perfect square? No. Think about your perfect square list that we have. Are there any perfect squares that divide nicely into 8? 4. I'm going to rewrite this as 4 times 2. So kind of like you always reduce a fraction, you always need to reduce any root that you have and make it the smallest thing that it can possibly be under the root. All right, I'm going to do two things at once. Ready? I'm going to add over the 12 because I want to get rid of the 12. So x is now alone. It equals 12 plus minus. So I put the 12 out front. What is the square root of 4? 2. And as soon as you take the square root, it pops out front. And then the root 2 stays underneath because it would be a long, ugly decimal. There's nothing we can do with that. We cannot add these together as they are because do you see how the one on the right has a root 2 and the one on the left does not? They're not like terms. We can't add them together. So this is how we're going to leave our answer. Now, could we get a decimal for 2 root 2 and then add and subtract it?
No.
Yes. We actually prefer this answer to a decimal answer because it's exact. Anytime you get a decimal answer, bless you, for a situation like this, you're going to have to cut it off at some point and round it. And so we consider this to be a better answer because it is an exact answer. So all the problems that you come across tonight are going to be factor and solve. The way that you're going to do it every single time is that it should factor into the same set of parentheses twice. So then you can square root each side. Sometimes you'll be able to work it out to a single number answer. Sometimes your answer will have roots in it still. It just depends on the problem. Okay? So you're going to leave the problem just like this and immediately factor. And again, they're all set up that way tonight. So it's not like a, but what if? There's no what if. They're all set up that way. Okay? Are we okay on that type? Okay. Here's the other thing, and this is going to help springboard us into tomorrow. So again, tomorrow we're going to talk about completing the square, and that's going to be a method that helps us find these perfect squares if we aren't given one to begin with. So today everything is like perfect and sunshine and rainbows, and that's what you're going to be given to begin with. Tomorrow that's not going to be the case, so we need kind of the first step in that operation. So the question becomes, how do you turn this into a perfect square so that you can factor it, and when it factors into the same set of parentheses twice. So there's actually a formula for that, and here is your formula. So your formula is b divided by 2 in parentheses, and then you square that set of parentheses. That's how you do what we call completing the square. So do you see down here that we have the first two terms and then we have a lot of plus c's? We want to complete the square for all of these. We only need our b value. Which value, let's go to part A, which value in part A is my b value? Negative 14. Make sure you take the sign with it. So b divided by 2, square it. All right, so negative 14 divided by 2 is what? Negative 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. So this value to complete the square is 49. Let me show you what that would mean for factoring. You don't have to write this part down unless you'd like to. So what that would mean for factoring is I'd have x and x. What multiplies to 49 but adds to 14? 7 and 7. They both need to be minus. Negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Negative 7 plus negative 7 more is negative 14. So do you see how that process we did truly completed the square? It gave us the number that would help us factor into x minus 7 squared. So I'm just kind of proving to you that it's true and that it works. So this part you don't have to do on the homework. I only want you to figure out the number. But again, I just want to make sure I show you, like I'm not lying to you, like this actually does work. Okay? Same thing here. You ready? What's your b value for part B? 6. 6 divided by 2 squared. 6 divided by 2 is what? 3 squared is 9. So just make sure you're following order of operations. That's truly the only thing, right? Don't square first and then, right? Let's just divide and then square. I mean, you could square it, but you'd have to square top and bottom, and usually people forget that. So I just think this is, you know, making sure you go through the process and use order of operations is the easiest way. Part C. Ooh, this one's going to end up with a fraction. We prefer fractions to decimals in this section. Okay, so just a heads up on that. What is my b value? Negative 7. Divide it by 2 and square it. So remember a minute ago I said divide it first and then square it, right? If I divide it, am I going to end up with anything nice? No. So for this type of problem, you would square it first. So divide it if it's going to give you a nice whole number. Don't if it's not. Remember, when you're squaring something, and this is usually where the mistake comes in, you've got to square both the top and the bottom if you have a fraction. What is negative 7 squared? What is 2 squared? And this would be your final answer for this one. I'm boxing all of my final answers here. And again, I can go back through and kind of show you, prove to you that it's going to factor. Here's one other interesting fact. Do you see how this was negative 7 here? And then it factored into x minus 7 and x minus 7? That's something that will always be a match. So whatever you get after the division will be the number that goes here when you go to factor it. So that's kind of a little shortcut too. That always happens. So it's not just kind of like, oh, that's a cool coincidence. Nope, it's an always. Okay, so those are the two types of things you're going to be able or be doing tonight for the homework. So you're either going to get them like this, where they come to you already as perfect squares and you're going to factor and solve, or they come to you like this and you have to find your C value. Can we do both those things? Yes, no? Yes? Okay. So we are on assignment number, was yesterday 7? Today's 8? 9? Okay. Okay. We think it's 9. I'll double check in a minute. It's, no, 9 for the assignment number. Page 179, numbers 1 to 12 and 19 to 22. So the first chunk of problems that you do tonight should be this top part, the completing the square and solving, and then the second part I believe are going to be the ones where you find the C value.